I want to talk to you about how to get a large and cheap payday loan, no questions asked. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to speak to you about how to get a large and cheap payday loan, no questions asked. Now, before I get into the conversation, folks, if you're only here for the step-by-step, I would recommend that you fast forward this video by 4 or 5 minutes. But if you want to listen to the important thing I want to tell you, please stick around. A payday loan is something very dangerous. It is not something that you want to really play with. Now, everybody goes through problems. I understand that, but I've used it in the past. I've been there, done that. But it's one of those things you want to do temporarily. Because what's the payday loan really? It's an unsecured cash advance for small amounts of money, usually less than $1,000, with very, very high interest rate and short-term repayment demands. All right. So a typical loan of $500, which borrowers often need to cover essentials such as rent, utilities, food, or medical bills, can cost you as much as 300% in repayments, even more sometimes. So you have to think about that. And the payday loans are very expensive. They are financial quicksand. Borrowing from short-term lenders is too easy. And some payday lenders want the right to access your bank account, and payday lenders can be ruthless debt collectors. So I'm just trying to lay the foundation so you understand exactly what you are getting yourself into. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying do it. I'm just giving you all the pros and cons so you have a better idea of what you're putting yourself into. Okay, information is power. Very important, folks. Information is power. And one thing you also need to understand is that in today's conversation, I'm going to help you find the best way to get a large payday loan. And while you should do this, and also help you understand that this has to be a temporary solution. This cannot be a permanent solution. This cannot be a permanent tactic. It has to be a temporary solution. So as you are thinking about getting a payday loan, think about the cost of payday loan, the reasons to avoid the payday loans, as I told you before. You also have to understand that payday lenders, and this has been documented throughout the country, at least most of them, will prey on the poor. Okay, they are in business to make money. We all understand that, but you want to be clear about what matters to you and how to protect your financial situation. So it's a service, you can use it, but use it with caution. And one thing I also want to say here is that a typical borrower has one or more of the following characteristics: young age, they have children, high school graduate, they don't own their home, they rely on social security checks, and they don't have access to any other type of credit. But there are alternatives to payday loans. Some alternatives to payday loans include loans from credit unions and small loan companies, right? Make sure that you shop before you decide. You have traditional banks. If needed, please get credit counseling and think about developing a budget. All right, so I'm just giving you a few ideas you have to think about before jumping into the payday loan thing. Okay? All right, now that I have put the caveat out, let's just get into the step-by-step. If you want to get a large and cheap payday loan, here is the step-by-step. Number one, you need to be a repeat customer. Now, I know this might sound a little counterintuitive because I've just told you to be very cautious about payday loans, and I'm telling you to be a repeat customer. No, let me clarify things. What I'm saying here is that if you want to borrow a large amount of cash from a payday lender, you want to be a loyal customer. Again, payday borrowing being something very temporary. Let's say you go into some financial hardships, right? Things are tough right now, cash is tight. and you want to actually implement the strategy over 3 months or 6 months. So what I'm saying to you is, over the 3 month or 6 month period, very limited period, where you want to implement a payday borrowing strategy, you want to go to the same lender. That way you establish some kind of loyalty, and they can actually help you. They can give you better rates and a larger amount. Being a repeat customer means what? It means that you have borrowed in the past and you were able to repay the loan. So they have your contact, your information, your payment history on file, and they can actually check that. So you want to borrow from the same lender. You want to show them your history of borrowing. You want to do it over a short period of time, right? Again, payday borrowing is a crippling trap. You want to use it for, you want to actually use the money for emergency car repair, plumbing issues in the house. And please make sure that you have a permanent job or steady income. So if you want to be a repeat customer and you want to get a large and cheap payday loan, you want to have a steady income or a permanent job. And you can apply in store, so you can visit your nearest payday lender, and you can talk to someone there, right? That's one thing. Or you can even apply it online. You don't have to drive anywhere. You can actually be in the comfort of your home, and basically just contact someone on the internet. Contact a lender on the internet. We have actually covered this on another show, so you might want to double check that. So the online application at most payday lenders' website requires a few simple steps to complete. So you want to select the loan option, provide personal contact information and details, as well as employment and banking details. Then you just sign and submit. One thing you also want to have here is, please have a budget to anticipate the payments. If you want to borrow up to $5,000, because when we talk about a large payday loan, we're speaking up to $5,000, you want to anticipate the budget, the repayment. You need to have a budget for it. So step number one, if you want to get a large and cheap payday loan, no questions asked, be a repeat customer. Step number two, you want to pay back daily. This works wonders, folks. You want to anticipate your payment schedule. Think about it. If you're trying to lower the cost, the more you borrow, the more in cost you might have to incur, right? So the idea here is to reduce your cost. And how do you do that? You actually do this by repaying daily or every other day. What I'm trying to say here is that don't go by the regular schedule of paying at the end of 2 weeks or every month. That will cripple you because the APR is already high. Imagine if somebody is charging you 10% over 2 weeks, that's like 1,000% or whatever, 500% over a year. So if you're trying to reduce that rate, you want to make payments on a daily basis. Let me give you an example. Let's say you just borrow like 1,000 and you have 1 month or 3 months to pay it off. What you can do is every 3 days or every 2 days, you can actually pay a little bit, right? So you can pay $50 here or $100 here, and that will help you actually reduce the APR. And if you can, pay a portion of the loan every day through ACH. You can set up ACH automatic debit, or you can ask the lender to do it. So you can do it yourself from your bank or ask the lender to do it from their side. And there are 3 benefits here. If you pay back daily or as frequently as possible, you can reap 3 important benefits. First, you will not feel the pain of small daily payments. What I'm trying to say here is that it is easier to pay $50 a day than having to make a balloon payment of $1,000 in 1 month, for example. And number 2, you can borrow more. So if you are able to pay back daily or every other day or as often as possible, you can borrow more. Instead of 1,000, you can borrow $5,000, for example, if your situation and the lender's requirement are in sync on that particular amount. And number 3, you can reduce your overall loan cost. As I said, the APR on payday loans can be crippling, can be prohibitively high. So the only way to actually save money and actually get out of this debt trap is to reduce your APR cost. So by paying more often, you are reducing your overall loan cost. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still showing you in this show. I'm talking to you today. I'm helping you understand how to get a large and cheap payday loan, no questions asked. Step number 1, be a repeat customer. Step number 2, you want to pay back daily. Step number 3, you want to pick a cheap online payday lender. Online is the keyword here. If you want to get up to $5,000 in payday loans, it's better to go online because the choices there are, you have more choices on the internet than say in your local neighborhood, right? So we have actually covered this on another show. We've covered some top contenders when it comes to online payday lending. So you have Check City. We have ranked this company 10 over 10. Here you can borrow up to $1,000, up to $10,000 rather. And then we have Check Into Cash. We have ranked the service a 9.5 over 10. And this is a great company because you have a high approval rate. The credit score is not really an issue. And you have a fast application processing. They are a direct lender, very important to mention. You have Cash Advance. We have scored this company a 9.5 over 10. And here you have the same benefits as you would have with Check Into Cash. You have a Blue Trust Loans. And this company is kind of new on the market. They've been founded in they've been founded in 2014, and they can lend you up to $3,000. You have personalloans.com, and our score is 8.5 here over 10. Great company. Also, you might want to check them out. You have Ace Cash Express. Our score 8 over 10. The beauty about Ace Cash Express is that they have a 72-hour satisfaction guarantee, which is one thing that other players don't offer. So we love that. And there's no influence on your credit score with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So they don't check your credit. You also have Lend Up. It's pretty good. Our score is 8 over 10. And this is a great company you might want to consider. Also, they give you instant decision. And they are a direct lender. And then you have a Net Loan Express. So our score is a 7.5 over 10. So another great player here. So I just gave you a list of potential cheap online pay lenders that you might want to consider. Of course, the word cheap here has to be kept, it has to be relative because when we talk about payday loans, it's the APR is not cheap, but these are the cheapest. Just take it this way. These are the cheapest. Step number 4, folks. If you go online and you don't find your luck there, I want you to compare local payday lenders. I want you to get back to the community in your city, in your states, and to see whatever happens for you, whatever is good for you. And to get up to $5,000 in payday loans, you have to think about a few things, especially at the local level. You want to pay attention to the APR. So you want to ask the lender. So when you actually go online and type, let's say, local payday lenders in, say, Atlanta, Georgia, right? You type it in Google or Bing or Yahoo, for instance. So you have a list. And what you want to do is you want to pick up your phone and contact them. And when you contact them, when you contact each of them, you want to ask a few specific questions. Number 1, how much does the loan cost? How long is the loan for? You have to think about that. Are there extra fees? And does the loan report credit? Those are 4 quintessential elements that you need to be very clear about. So how much does the loan cost? You just asking them to give you some information about the APR, right? The interest rate. And the APR is the annual percentage rate. And the APR actually is more, I would say, more comprehensive than the interest rate, because the APR encompasses other fees like origination fees, late fees, and that kind of stuff. You want to ask about the loan duration. How long is the loan for? Okay. And you want to think about also whether there are extra fees. Those fees might be anything like late or change fees, NSF fees, aka return items or insufficient fund fees, right? Early repayment fees. Those are elements you need to pay attention to. And you want to make sure that the loan because at the end of the day, you want any credit transaction to report to the credit bureaus, right? You're trying to build credit or rebuild credit. So you want to make sure that the loan you're taking, the online or the local payday loan that you're taking, will be reported to the credit bureaus, including Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And last but not the least, and this is a question for you, not for the lender, make sure that you can actually make the payments. Make sure that you are actually comfortable with making the payments. There are two types of payday loans. You have the balloon and installments. And these two loans have different payments, each named after the loan type. So a balloon loan is paid off with one large payment at the end of the length of the loan. And for this type of loan, you pay back all of the borrowed money and cost of the loan at once. And then you have an installment loan that is repaid by in portions over time, aka installment payments. And these loans are often repaid in equal monthly payments that include interest and a part of the originally borrowed amounts. So this is something you have to think about. So I'm showing you right now on the screen here, I'm showing you an example that we ran of 4 players, 4 lenders, and I'm showing you the cost of borrowing a 2-week $100 loan. You can see on the screen the APR for FIG loans, for ACE Cash Express, for Check and Go, and Speedy Cash. Step number 5, folks. If you're trying to get a large and cheap payday loan, no questions asked, up to $5,000 in funds, you want to get a co-signer or a co-borrower. This is very important. And it's important to understand, first of all, what I'm saying here is you want to have something called a joint application payday loan. And this is also sometimes known as a payday loan with a co-signer or a co-borrower. And a co-signer is someone who applies for the loan with you, and he or she is responsible for paying back the loan if you don't pay on time. A co-borrower is similar, but is entitled to a share of the loan. The type of joint application that is right for you will depend on your personal financial situation and whether you need to share the loan money with someone else. So it really depends on you. And how does a joint application payday loan work? This kind of loan works in the same way as a standard payday loan. Both you and the co-signer or co-borrower will collaborate to fill out an application for a payday loan. Then when your loan is approved, the money will be deposited into the corresponding accounts. Then the loan must be repaid. Very, very important. And if you don't pay, the co-signer or co-borrower will be responsible for paying the loan back, as he or she is seen as equally responsible for the debt. All right. Now, obviously, there are many benefits of joint application payday loans, right? It's easier to qualify for. You may be able to get more money. So if your goal is to get up to $5,000 or even $10,000 in payday loan, you can actually get that, because if you combine the income of yourself and your co-signer, or if you combine your own income and that of your co-signer or a co-borrower, you may be able to qualify for a higher overall loan amount. And that's just logic here. You also present a lower risk for lenders. Now, this is relatively rare among payday lenders, but some may offer a lower interest rate or lower service fee for a joint application payday loan. This is because the risk of a non-payment is lower, since there are 2 people who are responsible for paying the loan, and the lender is more likely to recover funds in case of loan default. All right, so this is kind of important. And one thing that I also want to say here is that joint applications in general are recommended, especially if you want to borrow a higher amount. It's better to go as a team, at least as a 2-person team. So is a joint application payday loan right for you? It really depends. This kind of loans may be right for you if you are having trouble qualifying for cash loans online on your own, and you have a co-signer or a co-borrower who is willing to take on the risk of a personal loan online on your behalf. However, not all lenders offer a joint application payday loan, so you may need to do a bit of research to find a company who will work with you and your co-signer for an online payday loan. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I really want to thank you. I was talking to you about how to get a large and cheap payday loan, no questions asked. And first, you want to be a repeat customer. Number 2, you want to pay back daily. or as often as possible. You want to pick a cheap online payday lender. Number 3. Number 4, you want to compare local payday lenders. And number 5, last but not the least, you want to get a co-signer or co-borrower. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.